You've likely heard bits and pieces of how to live below your means, but you're still struggling to put it all together in your life. That's why we've made this video the ultimate guide to living below your means, so you can enjoy yourself more, spend less, and build wealth with one easy and free accessible video for you. Before we get started, there are two major elements when it comes to living below your means, so be sure to watch to the end to make the best use of this ultimate guide. The active aspect. These are the things you can actively do to live below your means, meaning you have to put in the effort and take the time to do these things to see results. Number 1, track your money and spending. It's pretty straightforward, but knowing the total flow of cash to and from your account is the absolutely necessary first step to figuring out your financial health. Firstly, you want to track your cash inflow. All this means is to know what your income is, or the money that's coming into your account. This will depend on the frequency of your payments, weekly, bi-weekly, or varied, how much you're getting paid, and whether you're making money from multiple sources, side hustles, or part-time jobs. Once you've figured that out, you want to figure out your cash outflow. Your cash outflow is the expenses you have to pay every single month. Keep watching until later to figure out what the big 7 expenses are and how best to deal with them. Now that you have both of these numbers, you'll want to subtract your expenses from your income. Whatever this number depicts your financial health or how well you're living below your means. If the number is a big positive, then you're financially healthy. If the number is 0 or close to 0, then you're financially okay, but you're not healthy. If the number is negative, then you're financially unwell. Number 2, budgeting. The logical next step is to figure out what's the best way to manage your money, or what's the best way to spend your money so that every dollar is used up in the best way possible. The goal is to figure out what's the best way to live below your means. There are 2 ways that people do this. The first is to focus on increasing income. This can be through part-time jobs, money-making apps, or some sort of side hustle. This is usually done by people who've already managed to cut their expenses as much as possible. The second is to reduce expenses. This is by far the more common, easier, and more important method. The question is where to start. Number 3, the Big 7. The Big 7 is a great general idea of what the biggest expenses are for the average American, and it can help you see what you can reduce and how you compare to the average. Number 1, housing. $1,784 a month is the average amount an American will spend on housing, which includes utilities and maintenance. A few ways to cut down this cost are to rent out a room in your house, get a roommate, downsize, or find out unique ways to cut down your utility bills. Want to learn how to cut down on utilities and more? Then subscribe to Investors Weekly and check out our videos. Number 2, transportation. The average American will spend around $819 a month on various transportation costs. These are things like loan payments, car insurance, maintenance, and gas. Some ways to lower transportation costs are to use GasBuddy for the best gas prices, find better car insurance, maintain your car properly to avoid accidents, or avoid using your car and stick to local transit. Number 3, personal insurance and pensions. The average person will spend $604 a month on insurance and pensions, which includes life insurance, home insurance, gas insurance, and any other insurance. Arguably, the most important insurance is life insurance. This is especially the case if you have a partner and/or children that are dependent on your income. The best way to reduce these payments is to find the best provider for your insurance and try to find bundles that can lower the cost per month. Number 4, healthcare. The average amount spent on healthcare is $431 a month. There's no way to avoid going to the doctor or dentist once in a while, so it's easy to see how these expenses really start piling up. 2 ways to lower this cost are to have health insurance and to look for the best price doctor to do the checkup that you need to be done. Number 5, groceries. The average American pays $412 a month in groceries. This is a pretty significant amount considering it does not include takeout. But fortunately, there are many ways to reduce it. Some of the more common ways are to make a list and stick to it, use coupons and buy deals, buy items you use often in bulk when they're on sale, use cashback rewards, sign up for the store's membership plan, and buy store brand items. Number 6, entertainment. Entertainment is essential to making sure you stay happy and healthy, so you can continue living below your means. However, the average American spends $243 a month on entertainment, which may be making you more stressed out than relaxed. Since entertainment is so varied, general options to reduce cost are to curb impulse buying by using a time filter of 72 hours. Another major form of entertainment is subscription services, so if you're subscribed to several, try to rotate streaming services. Number 7, restaurants. It's not surprising that there's a takeout section on top of groceries. The average American spends $198 a month on it. This section is one that can be cut almost entirely by focusing strictly on groceries. I mean, an extra $1,800 a year would be nice. Are you enjoying this video so far? Let us know by giving it a like. The psychological aspect. While actively and directly working with your money to live below your means is important, it's also equally important to be mindful of certain psychological or passive aspects. Simply being aware of these can have a huge impact on how well you live below your means and how consistently you can do it. Number 1, beware of lifestyle creep. This is one of the sneakiest issues that pop up as you start building wealth. For example, if you get a raise, you start spending more because you earn more. The best way to avoid this is first to find a budget that you can stick to easily because it suits you. Once you have this, then remind yourself often that more money doesn't mean spending more, but to save more. Number 2, material doesn't always bring happiness. It's true to some degree that material goods can make you happy, but it's not usually something that is sustainable long-term. Another thing to think about is that most rich people generally live below their means. The most famous example is Warren Buffett, who still lives in the very first home he bought over 60 years ago. To follow suit, most wealthy people don't have tons of things, but things that make them happy. To live below your means, ask yourself what happiness means and what will keep you happy for the rest of your days. This will give a clear goal of what's worth buying and what isn't. Number 3, invest long-term. Most people don't live for a short time, so why wouldn't you invest long-term? For example, if you're expecting to live until 70 or 80, you're not going to only invest for 2 years and then stop. You're going to continue investing for your whole life until you retire. With that in mind, always make your investing goal to reach as long as you live, and maybe even beyond through your kids. If there's any task you want to accomplish, like retirement, then focus your energy to make it a long-term goal that you'll work on for most of your life. Number 4, make a plan that suits you. While all of these psychological aspects are essential to constantly think about to make living below your means possible, the most important part is to make a plan to live below your means that you can commit to for the long term that suits your personality. The hardest part is figuring out what plan fits your personality. Luckily for you, we have 3 methods that can help you figure this out quickly. Number 1, trial and error. For some, trying several different methods of learning to live below your means is the best way to figure out what works for your personality. For example, you can start by keeping a super detailed budget that you update every day and keep files organized. Then you realize it may be too difficult for you to maintain, so you opt to go for a more lax and easy approach. Number 2, make a pros and cons list for yourself. In other words, write out your strengths and weaknesses. This is a great method to figure out what methods to approach and what to avoid. For example, you may write a pro that you enjoy and are good at organizing. For them, it's best to approach a more rigid and rule-based approach. like filling out a detailed and written budget at the same time and day every month. Also, organize receipts and budgets in separate folders so you can look back and make sure everything was done well. On the other hand, you may think you need to be organized to be rich, but it's one of your weaknesses. However, a strength of yours is your creativity. In this case, having things perfectly organized in files and folders, and having a specific time and day every month may be too difficult to keep. Instead, opting for an app where you can stylize a budget, but not worry about managing receipts and written budgets is probably the best thing. After you watch the last method, let us know in the comments below what you do to live below your means consistently. Number 3, observe yourself in daily life. This means being mindful of all the actions you do from day to day and why you do them. Watching yourself every day is a quick and excellent way to discover habits that you never knew you had, which can help you decide the best style of living below your means for you. For example, let's say you notice that you tend to get impatient when you have to do tedious work. Tracking expenses and income once a month is a pretty tedious task. So instead of tracking everything once a month, you focus on tracking every day to make the workload less by spreading it out every day.